Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vish Mathur. I'm the Global Head of Engagement at the Telecom Infra project. For those of you who don't know who TIP is, we're an industry association. In DSIT's definition, it's an R&D organization. We effectively have a number of participants around the world. Our remit is very much in line with UK Gov to try and drive and accelerate supply diversification and get more and more open networks deployed over time. We have a number of operators and service providers as part of our mix, and we have about 150 plus trials and deployments happening across Open RAN, Open Optical, Open Wi-Fi, etc. We're already, as mentioned by Arnaud and Acceleran, leading on one of the Frank projects, and in that regard, basically it's a RIC development project, effectively looking at 5G network performance using interoperable multi-vendor RIC with XApps and RApps. Coverage obligation, massive MIMO, energy efficiency, and interference management as the primary use cases. As we all know, this is meant to be driving a real benefits case for mobile operators, as well as the application developer marketplace and R&D testing and standards development going forward. I'm just going to put forward two potential proposals that we're working through, particularly with two tier one operators. One is a white box RU development path. Now, within TIP, within our Open RAN roadmap, we have an RU development ecosystem, and we're looking at white box RU development there. Some of you may or may not have heard of Evenstar, which is a consortium set up by Meta, which is looking at development of technical documents and reference designs for white box RU. This is now being contributed into TIP, and we think that we can take this towards a point of commercialization. So we're looking to drive a validation project with a mobile operator in UK for that. And beyond that, actually start to drive a roadmap development for white box RU as well, which can feed into standards development into Working Group 7 and ORAN Alliance. The other side of the coin is actually a continuation of RE5G, but more from a perspective of a number of things. It could be further use cases that we can look at. We can also look at potentially the ideology of conflict management when you're looking at XApps and RApps leveraging the same resources from a RIC. We can look at RIC performance testing, especially when you look at across the different standards or interfaces, sorry. And then finally, actually want to move from lab into field. So really want to try and see what the actual commercial benefit can be of putting RICs onto 5G RAN environments. As a sort of a final view, our ask, basically, I mean, we're still developing out our consortium. It's not as if TIP is going to lead on both of these. We might look at being part of them, but what we're looking to do on the first one is UK-based RU vendors who would be willing to take reference designs and technical documents and manufacture and bring to the table for testing and validation. And on top of that, you'd have silicon and component manufacturers, RU testing houses, and etc. And on the other side, the whole ideology is building out more XApps and RApps, or a marketplace. Therefore, we're looking for application developers, but also the potential for doing a field trial in the right environment. Now, whether this is subsumed with an HDD field environment, or whether it's just within a public network, to TBD'd. But that's where we're at. So thank you very much. Look forward to talking to you more.